want to thank CrokinoleGameBoards.com for sponsoring this Crokinole Happy Hour series. They're a small, family-run operation, well known for their board making, but they always want to contribute back into the Crokinole community. They love doing that, so thank you to them. Please go check them out, CrokinoleGameBoards.com. Top of the line tournament boards and accessories. If you want to get into competitive Crokinole, this is what all the top players use, are these boards right here. They run a great site, absolutely great customer service. It's just not going to get, you're not going to beat it. Very much into the Crokinole community as well. And they also got to go check out their YouTube channel. They have a treasure trove full of information, a lot of tips, skills. They go over the rules. That's Crokinole Game Boards on YouTube, so check them out as well. They also make all the boards for the World Crokinole Championship, so that's the best quality you're going to get. CrokinoleGameBoards.com, handcrafted by players for players. All right, today on the Crokinole Happy Hour, we have a absolute rising star in the competitive Crokinole community. He is the 2014 Q's doubles champion at the World Crokinole Championship. He's the 2016 Q singles champion at the World Crokinole Championship. He is the 2018, 19, and 2020 Owen Sound champion on the NCAA Tour. He's the 2019 London champion. He's a runner-up at the U.S. Open. And he is current doubles champion in the NCAA with John Conrad. He is known for his iconic pink shirt. You probably see him on Crokinole Center YouTube videos in the finals mostly. Let's grab a beer and let's hang out with Mr. Andrew Hutchinson. Hey, all right. Welcome to the Crokinole Happy Hour, and I want to thank Andrew Hutchinson for joining us. How we doing there, Andrew?
Not bad. Yourself?
Pretty good, man. Pretty good. So, again, thanks for doing this. You know, I know it's crazy times here with all the lockdown and stuff, but I figured we all might have some free times on our hand. How are you handling the lockdown situation?
We're surviving. We've got 2 young kids, and we're both working from home, me and my wife. So it's quite busy. Our kids are at home. We're looking after our kids at home too, obviously, because daycares are closed. So yeah, it's been, our hands are full, but we're getting used to it, and it's hard to believe we're in the 5th week of it already. So time's flying.
That's right, man. So you got 2 kids, you said?
Yeah.
Young ones, I imagine.
Yeah, a 1-year-old, and then our little boy is he's almost 4 years old. He'll be 4 in June.
Nice, man. That's a lot of work. I have 2 young ones myself, but we're getting through it, right? It's not as bad as I thought it would be. But
exactly.
Nice, man. So it's a happy hour. So as a guest, what did you bring to the table?
All right. So I wanted to go pretty local. So this is a amber red ale, and it's from a microbrewery in Oakville, Ontario, which is about maybe, I don't know, 45 minutes away from Kitchener, where I live. And it's one of my favorite beers that I can get at the LCBO, and yeah.
So amber ales, is that your favorite style, or is it that particular beer just one of your
yeah, favorites? I like amber ales. I like other stuff too, but this is one of my recent favorites. So I think I came across it maybe within the last year, and whenever I go to the beer store, that just kind of, I like to pick out a few favorites, but then also I always pick out a few ones that I've never tried before, and this is one that I think I came across maybe within the last year, and I've had it a few times since.
Awesome, man. Well, I'm joining you as well. I got a Southern Tier X IPA here. These guys are been around for a while, but they're a world-class brewery, and they're in the Southern Tier of New York. So I'm going to pour this up, give you a cheers.
All right.
Again, thanks for doing this, man.
Yeah.
So it is a Tuesday night, so this is when we're recording it, obviously, but it's still good to go, right?
For sure.
Cheers, brother. I know you're
All
still
right.
pouring, but I'm going to take a sip there. And I see you got the beard and the mustache going. Does that affect your drinking at all?
No, not the quantity. It does. I mean, you get a little, get some on the mustache, but that's all right.
You know what I like to do sometimes is just take a big sip and obnoxiously just fill the stash with all the foam and beer, and then carry on. Like, don't wipe it down or anything, and just carry on with the
Pretend like it
conversation.
didn't happen.
And just wait for someone just to, they're like looking at you, and it's just like dripping, and you're spewing it all. It's so much fun to do that. Highly recommended. So, man, you are relatively recently a rising star in this competitive Crokinole scene. I know that you started off in the Q's division. That's how you learned the game, right? That's where you first started playing the game, was with Q's. Some people don't know like what Q's are in Crokinole. All they see is like fingers on YouTube and the internet. And so how did that start off for you?
Yeah, well, I mean, Qs are certainly less frequent than fingers. In terms of tournaments, the only tournament that has Qs is the Worlds. But I started off with Crokinole and with Qs back in 2011, and there's 6 of us living in a house, and one guy brought a Crokinole board from his parents one day, and I had heard of it as a kid and had a really cheap board as a kid, but never really played it much, and certainly didn't play it properly. And we started playing, and we all kind of played with our fingers, except for the one guy. He said, "Oh, it hurts when I play with my fingers." So he's the guy who brought the Crokinole board, so he always used a Q. So he didn't actually have Qs there. So he used a kitchen ladle, the back end of a kitchen ladle, and started using that until he could get his actual Qs from home. And so we still the rest of us still played fingers all the time. But then one day I was watching the Crokinole documentary. I don't know if you've ever seen it, but it's pretty amazing. And we found out about the World Crokinole Championships, and after watching the documentary, I asked my friend Shane, I'm like, do you want to go? Because it's like 45 minutes away. It's like $15 to register. We were just kind of going as a laugh, right? Like, we weren't serious about it at all. And he said, yeah, like, I'll go, but you need to change the cues. I'm not going to play fingers. So that's maybe 2 months before the Worlds in 2011. And me and then the rest of my friends switched to Qs, and me and Shane, we finished 6 in doubles that year, and which was kind of a surprise because we were just going for a joke, and that is kind of what got us into it, and that's why I started playing Qs. That's
pretty cool. I mean, I like that the guy was using a kitchen ladle. And I messed around with the Qs a little bit, and that the Qs are so much easier to shoot the alley and do takeouts. There's some things that Qs can't do, but like, let's say you played Qs against a finger shooter, you would probably win almost all the time. Is that correct? Or any Qs player playing against the fingers, they would have an advantage.
They'd have an advantage. Like, the 20 shooting is a lot more accurate with the Q, and as you say, like, anytime, it's really hard to hide on somebody who's shooting with the Q, because they can shoot really straight, right? So you definitely have an advantage with the Q, but there are a number of shots that you can't really hit very well. You most notably like the follow through is it's really hard to hit with a cue because you try to overhit it and then it just your piece flies off the board. So I I'm right now I'm more comfortable playing with the finger, even though if I started playing with the cue again, my 20s would be even more accurate. But I like playing with fingers better. But yeah, cues definitely has advantages, especially for people who are starting off.
Would you recommend a new player starting with cues or just jumping right into fingers, or it doesn't really matter?
I would say go into fingers. If you're planning on playing the game at all seriously, then just go into fingers. You may as well. Because when I went from finger or cues to fingers, then it was kind of a new learning curve as I was getting the muscle memory down and all that, right? So if you're gonna end up there anyways, you may as well just start off in fingers, I would say.
Because there's more tournaments, right? Too more
Yeah.
competitive tournaments in fingers than there are in cues by a long shot.
Yeah, and that's the reason I actually tried out fingers. I didn't think I'd ever be any good. Like I saw the fingers guys on YouTube just making ridiculous shots and really accurate with their 20s, like almost as accurate as we are with cues. And I couldn't do that playing fingers, but I'm like, there's only one cues tournament the whole year. So that one tournament, then I wait 365 days for the next one, right? And that's too much. I couldn't do that. So I just kind of went in to start doing fingers just more, and then I improved and got to a level that I didn't think I'd ever get to. But yeah,
That level you're talking about, man. So like just one more thing on the cues. You are a world champion, right? You're multiple world champion. What was that
yeah,
first one like winning that one?
it was good. My first one was in 2014 with my friend Dave King, who we had partnered together for a few years, and we won the doubles, and that was pretty amazing. We didn't really expect that we'd have a chance, and as you know, the doubles in the World Crokinole Championship, it's like the round of like the second round is just the 6 teams play a round robin. It's not elimination or anything. So we were kind of just get like 4 points here, 5 points, 6 points, just enough to win it. And we didn't think we had enough points, but we did, and that was pretty special. And then I was out of country in 2015, so I didn't go that year. But 2016, then I won the singles World Crokinole in cues. I'd already started playing fingers in other tournaments. I just kind of wanted to win the cues before I moved on completely to fingers, and I won that one. So yeah, it was nice to get those two championships under my belt.
That's crazy, man. Yeah, speaking of doubles teams, you just won the Ontario doubles with Mr. John Conrad. Is that correct?
Yes, yeah. I played with him. I think that's my third Ontario doubles. I played with him, and I played with him in Paddy Fest at times, and it's just a treat playing with that guy. He's such an amazing player, obviously, but a really good guy too, and so good at doubles with all the strategy and all that. And I've been really lucky to have the opportunity to partner with him and a few times, and we put it together. And I guess that was November, and yeah, it felt good to win that one because he's won the doubles at the Worlds a number of times, but this was his first time winning the Ontario doubles. So it was nice to help him do that, and he certainly helped me because I couldn't have done it without him.
Okay, so you won is there any other NCAA doubles tournament have you ever won besides that one, or is that the first one?
No, that's the only one until like the U.S. Open right now is an NCAA tournament, but besides that, we just have the Ontario doubles and the Worlds. and actually for the Worlds, I still do cues for doubles, even though I do fingers for everything else. So the only NCAA tournament that I've done doubles in is the Ontario doubles, and I finished fourth with Connor Reinman last year, and a couple of years ago, me and John came third. So I've been in the mix a couple of times, but that's the first time winning that tournament.
Do you have a rotation of partners that you like to use? I know a lot of guys like to use the same partner. There is a big, you got to have, I don't know, like a connection with your partner. It seems it's better to like know instinctually what your partner is going to do. You seem to rotate your partners a little bit. Is there a reason for that?
Well, I just try to get whoever I can get to partner with me. I guess John, I first partnered with him a few years ago, and but because I do the cues for the doubles, right? Like I can't be a consistent partner with one player, because if I might partner with them for the Ontario doubles, but then they're still looking for somebody for the for the Worlds, because I'm doing the Worlds with cues, right? So it happened like after a couple of years I played with John for doubles, and then he's also playing the World doubles, and so he's partnered with Connor. And then the year that I partnered with Connor, John was out of town. So yeah, it's not really a strategic choice. I don't have a consistent partner, and so I just kind of play with whoever is willing to play with me. And it's, as you say, like I think it's advantageous to have a consistent partner, but it's also been really fun to play with different people, and I pick up different things from different people. At the U.S. Open last year, I played with Jeremy, and Patty Fest a month ago, I played with Ray Bearling for the first time. So it's fun kind of partnering with different players and learning from them.
Yeah, so I know you said you partnered with Jeremy. I think you would say he's a little more aggressive player, and your strategy is a little more conservative. Is that fair to say?
I think so.
In like certain situations.
Yeah, I mean his game is changed a lot. I think when he first started playing, he was often quite aggressive, and with good reason. Like he's really good at follow throughs and shots like that. And I think he's over the years he's become like really effective with his like defensive rollouts and stuff. So I would say that our game are a lot closer now than maybe a few years ago they would have been. But I'm like my style is very much like open 20s and defensive leaves. I'm not aggressive unless I really need to be, right? Where he's still a bit more aggressive than me, but I think our games are closer than they used to be in terms of style.
Open 20s and defensive leaves. What I would say defensive leaves is more important, even though 20s, especially in singles, are, you live and die by them, right? So would you say that for a player to have more consistency with defensive leaves or more consistency with 20s?
I mean,
in singles, let's say it's singles format.
Yeah, in singles. I mean, in a way, they kind of go together, right? Because the defensive leaves you only even get the chance to do a defensive leave if you can win the 20s battle. If you don't win the 20s battle, then you're just fighting from behind, and you're not even in the position of thinking defensively, right? So to me, they kind of complement each other. And like I'm not not great at follow through 20s or like that. So for me, like open 20s is really key. But that being said, like defensive leaves are not as important when you're playing weaker players because you can get away with like a mistake here and there and they're not going to capitalize. But if you want to actually win a tournament, you're right. Like the defensive leaves are so important because if you're playing best players, Justin or Jason Berling or any of the top players, if you even just leave them anything to get a 20 off of, they're going to do it, right? Or they're going to do it the majority of the time. So in order to win championships, though, like playing really strong defensively is certainly important.
Nice. So, like, let's say, okay, the tournament's coming up a week before singles. What is Andrew Hutchinson's preparation for that from the week on or 2 weeks before or to the day before to the morning of? Like, do you have a certain preparation you do for tournaments? I mean, any kind of drills or that you like ramp up during that time, or is there anything different that you do, or you just go out there and just play?
I know it sounds boring. I don't really do anything different. I always practicing is I don't do drills or anything like that. I play against myself, and in doing that, like I get to see kind of all of the shots that I'm going to see in the tournament, right? So yeah, I just play against myself and I'll try to do that a couple more times in the week ahead of a tournament. Like usually I do it maybe a couple times a week, and I try to do it maybe four or five in the week before, even if it's not for a long time, even if it's just for 20 minutes at a time, just to kind of get prepared. But no, I don't change my my preparation too much because I kind of know the shots that I'm going to need to make, and it's just whether you actually make them when the tournament comes, right? Like yeah.
You don't play the 4-year-old to get a little confidence going in there?
His attention span doesn't last too long. We can play for maybe 5 minutes, but then it's a thing.
Nice. Yeah. I couldn't even recognize you without your pink shirt on. What's everyone that sees you on Crokinole Center on YouTube sees you with the pink shirt? I know I asked you before, but for everybody else, why do you wear that pink shirt all the time? And it's become pretty popular. I was gonna like joke around and wear a pink shirt, but I can't pull that off. Like you're the guy that can pull that off. So where'd that come from?
All right. Okay, you want the truth on this one?
Of course.
All right. Well, before I do, I have to say the reason I'm not wearing my pink shirt is I have the Indian Ladder Farms.
Oh, terrific!
Today, in celebration of the work that you do down there and the brewery and all that. So that's why I'm not wearing the pink shirt today. I want to mix it up. But the story with the pink shirt, it's kind of I don't know. It's not totally serious, but I thought it'd be kind of funny to when you play cues. There's a lot of the competitors are older and a lot of older ladies. So it was to wear this dress shirt with maybe a couple buttons undone to attract the older ladies and any competitive advantage I can get. And I don't know if that worked, and maybe I don't want to know if it worked or not, but it just kind of stuck. I played pretty well, and so that's kind of my tournament shirt to go to. And yeah, that's the truth behind it.
Do you like now? I know it started off as a joke, but now like, does it affect you? Like, would it affect you if you lost the shirt, temporarily lost a shirt, or you didn't know where it was, or you'd be like, oh no, I'm going to go to the tournament. I'm not going to have my pink shirt on. Is it that bad?
I don't think it would bother me too much. Like I think I'm strong-minded enough that I could get over it. But I mean, it might catch other people's eye too, right? Like it's kind of what I'm known for right now is wearing that pink shirt, and so I'm sure the biggest impact would be all the YouTube comments that would come with it. Apparently, Nathan's the Crokinole Center videos get a lot of comments, and only some of them are about actual Crokinole. A lot of people like to comment on anything else that's going on. So yeah, I'm sure that's where we'd see the biggest difference.
Well, that Crokinole Center, I'm going to try to get Nathan on too. That is such a great thing that he did, and I know that you also write blogs for Crokinole Center as well, don't you?
Yeah, I'll do a few like I guess guest blogs. He writes most of them, but especially if there's a tournament that I go to that he doesn't, or occasionally at other times I'll write it. So yeah, I like to do that every once in a while, but he does a great job of maintaining and promoting the game.
What do you got? What are those medals behind you? And where do you keep all your Crokinole trophies?
Oh, they're I don't need much shelf space so far. I only have a few so far, maybe I don't know, 6 or 7 or 8 or something. So
man, I would 7 or 8. Shut up. I would love one of those things, man.
Oh, in time, right?
Yeah, well, yeah, I'll get there. I'm almost there, man. I just need to get to more
more tournaments.
I mean, geez, right now, man, I am like when we had to cancel the US Open, like I had a really hard time looking at a Crokinole board because I was so, I was pouting a little bit, and that this thing that we're dealing with is so much bigger, and I got over it, but like, man, and even since we had to cancel the tournament, our club, we had to stop our spring. We were just about to start the spring league. We had a nice format for that. We couldn't. I can't get together with any. I mean, like you said, I could play my 7-year-old, or my 4-year-old, and that's not playing anybody. I can play myself. I just miss playing Crokinole so much. You don't realize, how much you miss it. And I hope my game doesn't slip off, because I was, especially at my club, I was doing pretty good. I won the singles championship, and I was using that momentum to roll with Magic Mike in the U.S. Open. We were exhibitioning people here in preparation for that. We were smoking them, but yeah, I want to get one of those NCAA trophies. That's for sure. That's a definite goal of mine. What's the goal? What's the next goal for you for competitive Crokinole? What's the one you want?
I want the world singles. Yeah, it's I haven't even come in top 4 for world singles in fingers. I've played the last 3 years. I've made the top 16 each year. And 2 years ago, 2018, I just missed out on the top. Like, they have like the 2 divisions. Of the top 16, they have 8 in one group and 8 in another group, and then the top 2 from each of those move on to the semifinals. And 2 years ago, I finished 3rd out of my group of 8. So I just missed out on the top 2 and making the semifinals. I was with Justin, and Ray beat me out. So yeah, I guess I need to make the top 4 first if I want to win. But yeah, that's my goal, is winning that world singles.
Well, you're certainly gaining a lot of momentum on the tour, on the NCAA tour this year, until the coronavirus struck. You're currently 2nd, right, this year in standings, and you and Jason Veerling were battling it out, going back and forth. I mean, you must have been. I know that it's still up in the air if they're going to finish the season down the road or whatever, but you were playing very well, weren't you? Is this the best you've been playing So far?
Yeah, last season, like the 2019 season, I came fourth, and I tied Jason for third basically, but he won the tiebreaker, so that put me in fourth. Um, and yeah, and and so last season I had 2 wins and 2 third places, which was just not enough to make the top three. And then this year, so far I had 2 wins and 2 second places, and they take the top 4 tournaments. I had 2 wins and 2 second places. So yeah, I was looking pretty good for a top three, although it wasn't guaranteed. Like there's still a couple players who could have caught up with me, and I was trailing Jason by a few points, or I am trailing Jason by a few points. He has 3 wins and a second for his top three or top 4 tournaments. So these last 2 seasons are certainly my best by far. Yeah, so it would have been nice if, well, obviously it would have been nice if none of this happened and we could have just kept on as normal. But yeah, it would have been interesting to see how things turned out with the NCAA standings, and if things were running. And as you know, like this is a weekend of the that the U.S. Open should have happened, and so it would have been yeah, fun to go down there and to see if I could make up ground on Jason and all that. So
yeah, that would have been, that's another thing. Like with the U.S. Open being, sanctioned NCAA tournament, does that? I mean, that affects most of the players, right? Because it is further away from the normal circuit, and most of I would think most of the people wouldn't be able to travel that far or wouldn't want to. And is that why? That's why it's, what is it in the NCAA? It's a top. You take your top 4 best finishes.
Yeah, top 4. Your top 4 tournaments, they'll tabulate that. That's yeah, because there's people from all over Ontario and outside of Ontario who compete, right? And some of us, like, Crokinole's our life and we'll go to any turn that we can, but other people have other commitments, and some people, because of the distance, they're not going to make, they're only going to make a few. So it allows like a wider range of people to qualify. Like even yourself out there, like near Albany, right? Like you would have had enough. You went to Belleville and you did the 2 tournaments at the Worlds and the U.S. Open. If that had run, you would have had the 4 tournaments to qualify, right? So it allows like a wider range of people to finish in the NCAA standings.
I was going to go home with 50 points this weekend. I was me and Mike, man.
No doubt, no doubt.
You, the Beerlings, and Jeremy and his son coming down, plus all the other great players that were going to come. But man, I was smelling that one. Oh, I'm obviously the overconfident, oblivious player, but man,
hey, you could have done it last year. Like Chet and Mike just about beat the Beerlings in the semifinals.
Yeah, no, that was great. Mike and Chet are great players, man.
Yeah.
But I heard there was a little, like, I don't know, just one mistake. And they sat down with us after that match, and like they were just so like, we almost beat the Beerlings, and we're in the semi. We were in the consolation for 3rd and 4th. You guys, ran through Seth from Bowling and I, and they were just deflated after that because they got so close to glory, and like this, just one little mishap, and it took them like a few rounds to wake up, and then they woke up, and then they came back and beat us. So, jeez, man. Yeah, that was a good time. But, Magic and I are going to go up to the Ontario doubles.
Oh, nice.
Sure, this upcoming season in November.
Nice.
In Brucefield, which is a great doubles tournament. Do you oh, I'm sorry, I got to do this too. Someone told me the pipe smokers like to see what I'm smoking.
All right.
So this is for all the pipe smokers out there. This is Cornell and Deal's Blockade Runner. It's a Virginia crumble cake soaked in rum. And the last one I was smoking on Jeremy's one, I had to let them know too, was GLP Spark Plug, Latakia English Blend. And I'm smoking it on my new Peterson 05 Cara from Ireland. So
nice.
I had to do that. Sorry, I know no one smokes a pipe but that's what you're supposed to do, I guess, when you're on YouTube and you're smoking a
For
pipe.
sure.
There's a big pipe community I never knew about. So that's what the request was. Okay. Yep. So there's that. So what, singles or doubles? What do you prefer? I know doubles breaks it up probably for you, but what are, in your opinion, like the different aspects of each format?
Well, like is singles. I think my strengths are more suited towards singles, where I think singles it really is about, like I was saying before, hitting your open 20s to get the lead, and then playing strong defensively to keep the lead, and those are my strengths. Where there's a lot more strategy involved, and there's a lot more opportunity to, if you get behind in the 20s race, to kind of claw your way back into it. Which I find that, like, I enjoy that, and it's fun to play, but it's not necessarily doesn't necessarily match my strengths. Like in singles, a lot of rounds you'll go back and forth, like 20, 20, 20, like your opponent, and go on a run of like 4 or 5 20s each, where when you're playing doubles, it's not very often that everybody gets 20s like 2 or 3 times in a row, right? Like that's pretty remarkable.
That's called shooting the moon, Andrew.
Yeah, shooting the moon, right? Yeah. You don't shoot the moon that often in doubles, but in singles you can get really in a rhythm with your 20s, and yeah, that kind of suits my strengths. But yeah, I do like the strategy of doubles, but yeah, it's not necessarily doesn't really match the best parts of my game.
You're a good player no matter what. So, but does it give you any anxiety? And you usually have a good partner too, but you're kind of relying on another person as well. Does that kind of affect, you liking singles more than doubles, or does that not bother you at all?
I don't mind. Like, I don't mind the pressure of shooting in a doubles match, right? Like, and it's nice sometimes to have somebody to kind of take the pressure off. Like when John and I won the doubles in last November, I remember in the semifinals against Roy and Jeremy, there were a couple in the last round. There's a couple really key open 20s that John made, and I was thankful that, like, he was shooting those and not me. So it's nice in doubles to kind of take the pressure off of yourself some of the time. Like, somebody to pick you up when you're kind of struggling in a round and stuff. I like that aspect of it, but I mean, I do like the singles, where in singles you can only blame yourself if you don't win, right? Like, there's no looking at anybody else. It's you win alone, or you lose alone. So I like that a bit more, but doubles is fun.
Nice. Now, I know I've never come across this, but you play a little more competitive tournaments than I do. And I doubt this person even exists in the Crokinole community, but have you ever played against someone that was like deliberately stalling, deliberately cheating in any way, or have you ever came across anybody like that? Or you might have thought that, well, this guy's trying to break up my rhythm or anything like that? Or because I haven't. I just wondered if you have.
I don't, not deliberately. There are some players who naturally play slower and have a reputation on the tour as playing slower, but they don't do it in order to kind of screw with their opponents. It's just
It's on a consistent basis. That's just who they are.
It's their rhythm, yeah.
Okay.
And there's a few players who, a couple of the older players who, when they put their piece down to shoot, it's like maybe an inch away from the shooting line. Like it's kind of in the area to play when they actually shoot it. But I think that's just because they have trouble seeing. So there's a few. There's times that the rules aren't followed 100%, but I don't think it's anything deliberate. And I think the great thing about the Crokinole community is we're pretty understanding and flexible, and nobody, or not nobody, but most people aren't going to get up in arms if something minor like that takes place. But yeah, I don't know of any intentional cheating or unsportsman like delay of game or anything like that happens.
I wonder if there was like a reason for the rules to be written. You know what I mean? At one time, I'm sure someone was trying to take an advantage of something. But in my club, if someone messes up, everyone yells at them. But that's because we're like more of a closer niche guys, and we don't care what their feelings are. You know what I mean? We just let them know that they're screwing up. And, not intentionally, but you know, the extra point guys, I know watching videos from us like a year and a half to 2 years ago, our game, I couldn't even watch it, how slow we were playing. But now we played, you know, more often, and then our game has gone up. It's still not up to, you know, as fast as you guys usually play, but the more you play, the faster you're going to get, and I think that improves the game, you know, a lot, especially in doubles. Because we actually this spring we were going to do timers on the games, because we had 3 games to 5. That was a match. We're trying to fit 2 matches in a league night, and some people, like some teams, like they were taking like hour and a half to play 3 games to 5. Wow. And that, you know, and that's, we have a bar there, and when, you know, at between each game, you go off, grab a beer, go to the bathroom or whatever. But we were trying to squeeze in 2 so we can fit the whole season in 7 Crokinole nights. Mm-hmm. And it's not fun, you know, when you have to wait that long. You know, guys are like, you know, chatting in between shots, or, you know, whatever. They're outside having a smoke or whatever. But this year we were going to try having timers on the game, and I don't know. I think that'd have been a lot more fun that way. And then have leisure play after that. After league games, have leisure play.
Yeah, I think there can be a happy medium in there, right? Like you don't want people feeling that they're rushed the whole time, but you also don't. It's not fun for anybody if you're just you feel like you're waiting 1-2 minutes between every shot that you take, right? Like then it gets frustrating for people. You want to keep it moving, and then there are like circumstances where it warrants discussion, right? Like what's the best shot for us to take, and or what strategy should we use in this situation? But not every shot is.
Not every shot.
That's right. All that discussion. Yeah.
Also wanted to thank you too. You know, I posted on Zoom before the fall league last year if anybody had any good jackpot suggestions, and you suggested a penalty if you mess up. If you have something you do wrong, you would have to pay into the pot. And so we took your suggestion. We were going to call it the Hutchinson, but you didn't want that. So we had it so if you knock another guy's disc in the hole, if you hit an opponent's disc in the 20 for them, it's a penalty, and you have to walk up in front of everyone with the dollar and put it in the bucket. And everyone screams obscenities at you and like cheers. It's a lot of fun, man. So thank you for that. And how many do you belong to several Crokinole clubs or one Crokinole club, or where do you play?
Two. Just like Jeremy was saying the other day, we both go to St. Jacobs and Waterloo Club. The difference is he considers St. Jacobs to be his home club, where my home club is Waterloo. So, which doesn't matter too much except for during the Joseph Schneider Haas tournament, which is like a club tournament, where you have four players from each club playing against each other. So in that tournament, I've been playing with the Waterloo Club, and he's been playing with the St. Jacobs Club. But we both go out to both of them, and like St. Jacobs and Waterloo are maybe 15 minutes away. So a lot of people who live in our area go to both of them, which just means more practice, which is good. St. Jacobs is more organized, and they accumulate points throughout the season, and there's a club champion at the end of the year. And Waterloo is more just kind of for fun, and a lot of new players will come out to that. So it's a different atmosphere, but I go to both.
So there's a league in St. Jacobs.
Yeah. It's they do 12 nights from October till, and you do double, like I guess mixed double. So they do a rotation where there's 8 people in a group, and then you play 7 games. So you play with one of the other 7 or 8 people during the night, and then you how many points you have, and then they keep a running tally throughout the year.
So how long if you can't show up a couple of weeks? What happens then?
For St. Jacobs, you can miss up to 3, I believe, and anyone that you miss, they just give you like 50% of the total possible points. So it's like you break even, and then if you miss more than 3 nights, then you can still keep coming out, but you don't qualify for the end of season trophy.
I don't know if I would give 50% of the points. That's just me. We usually we try to get subs. Could someone sub in for you? And grab points for you?
No, they don't do that.
I mean, you could get a nice ringer.
Just call in.
We don't have ringers over here, but
yeah. So I mean, it's like I think they used to do it where it was more like a commitment, right? Like if you were, I think they used to do it where it's like there's only 16 people, so they'd have 2 groups of 8, and when you signed up at the beginning of the season, you're basically committing to making all those nights, or if not, like you were responsible for like filling in, like finding a sub to fill in for you. I think as time goes on, like the club got a bit more stuff, so it's a bit more relaxed, where if you can make it, that's great. If you can't, it's still fine. So, but I mean, you certainly don't want to miss a night, because if you want to win the trophy, you basically need positive points every night or almost every night. So it's not like it's not advantageous to miss a night and get the half points.
Yeah. Yeah, that's awesome though. There's leagues out there. Does every is there how many Canadian clubs are there around you within like let's say an hour that you know about?
Waterloo. There's a Cambridge one, which is like in the same general area. There's a London one, Niagara Falls. Maybe it's a bit further. Yeah, there's probably maybe six regular clubs, and then there's a lot of ones that play like Hughes clubs, actually, seniors clubs. That a lot of them happen like during the day when everybody else is at work, but the seniors are like at their senior center or whatever. So yeah, there's a few more of those. But like our area is kind of the hotbed for Crokinole, where it originated and all that. So that's why there's so many clubs around us, I think.
Hey man, would you ever think about putting in a Q's tournament in the NCAA, like overseeing it and running it and having asking everyone that usually plays fingers to grab a cue and play? Did you ever think about doing that?
Yeah, I actually discussed that a couple years ago with Nathan, and he thought it was a good idea, and then I had a kid and ran out of time and didn't really have the energy to put the effort into that. But I think it would be fun, but there would probably be some opposition from some people to have it actually an NCAA tournament and it be worth NCAA points. But yeah, I think it would be a good a change up for people and add some variety. But the other thing is like the Crokinole calendar is pretty full right now as it is. Like if we don't really want to have a tournament around Christmas, like when it's like December, January, right? Because it's the weather can be so bad, and then the schedule's a bit lighter in the summer too. So it's pretty heavy around the fall and the spring, but so there's not a lot of, unless you want to have like two tournaments really close to each other, there's not a lot of room for it. So maybe one day I'll do something like that, but we'll see.
I think you should, man. I think you should. That'd be fun. Even though I don't play cues, I would try to get up for that one for sure. But I know whenever this gets back up and running again, that Belleville tournament was excellent. And I can imagine that's what and I've been to the Worlds and I've been to Belleville. So and I obviously been to the US Open, but I can imagine that's what every tournament. I know every tournament has a different feel, but that's how well run things are up there. Is that correct?
Yeah, it's pretty, like the tournaments that have been running for 7, 8 or more, 9, 10, 11 years, right? So, and it's usually the same people who are running it. So they've kind of they work at the kinks and kind of have got the feel down. And so I think the most chaotic tournament, even though it's very well run, the Worlds is very well run, but it is the most chaotic tournament just because there's so many divisions, so many people. There's a lot of new people, right? Like who just go to the Worlds but don't go to any other tournaments, so who don't necessarily know some of the rules or like the more detailed rules or whatever. And there's like it's all run by volunteers, so all like the scorecards, all of that is done by volunteers and who might not actually play Crokinole or have any of that experience. Even some of the referees don't play Crokinole, so it's a bit chaotic, but yet it's really well run. Don't get me wrong, but the smaller tournaments, not surprisingly, are run a bit more smoothly just because it's not such a big undertaking, right? You have maybe 50 people in the room instead of people in the room. So the most of them are very well run. Yeah.
So besides Crokinole, any other competitive interest or any kind of, sport that you do or game that you play other than Crokinole?
Not too much anymore. When I was in high school, I played football on our high school team, and it's good competitive active sport to play or sports to play, and a good competitive outlet. But I'm a bit too old for that stuff now. So Crokinole is kind of my major competitive outlet. But I also do I'll do volleyball, like kind of recreational volleyball, um, which I enjoy. It's a good a good active. It's not too intense or too crazy or whatever, but it's still active. So I like doing that, and I still play that. I haven't played. I used to do like baseball or slow pitch, but I haven't done that for a couple of years. But I played a lot of baseball growing up, so I always love sports. I don't have the time that I used to, and I'm getting older, so I can't really do what I used to could do.
Man, I mean, aren't we all? But you said you played volleyball, right?
Yeah, I still play some rec volleyball. Yeah.
I don't know if you know. I don't know if you remember meeting him, but Kurt from my club, we call him Kurt Suck Tonight. He is he's a huge volleyballer.
Okay.
Yeah. So, and I always, poke fun of him a little bit, but I know I would get my ass kicked out there. But yeah. And you said you played football. Now, what position were you in football?
I was a defensive back. So my last year I was free safety, and before that I was cornerback. But I think I was a bit better at free safety than I was at corner.
So you were an animal coming up and just smacking people with the ball then.
No. I'm not a big guy, so I wasn't great, but I was a starter on my team and got a couple picks and a pick six and yeah, so it's all right.
Andrew, if someone came through the runner came through that line and the linebackers were occupied, you were the guy that had to come up full speed from like 30, 20 yards out and just lay that guy out. Did you ever do that?
That was the theory. I'm not sure I did it ever really like that, but I had some open field tackles. Yeah.
All right, nice, man. So now Canadian football, is it the Canadian football field or is it like an NFL field here in the States?
In Ontario, our high school football is a weird hybrid of the different rules. So we play 4 downs like you guys.
Mm-hmm.
We don't. I think our field is the 110 yards, which is a Canadian Football League, a bit bigger. But our end zone, like in Canadian football, the end zones are usually, I think, like they're deep, like
they're 15, right?
15 or maybe even more. But we have our end zones were the size of the NFL or
10. Okay.
10 yards back.
5 yards, right? 5, yeah.
Yeah, and so it's a weird hybrid of the different rules, but like the big one is the downs, right? And we did the 4 downs.
That's something. That's like a whole other thing we could do with that. That's crazy. So you played soft pitch baseball. We play when we get older and we can't play hardball anymore. We play beer league softball, and that gets pretty intense as well.
Is that like the lob ball?
What's that?
Is that like the lob ball?
It's called a slingshot. The pitcher can't break the head, and you can't windmill it, but you can go as fast as you want. You just can't go above the head with it. Bring it straight back, and there's some guys, man, that can. And I played in a windmill league, and I went up to this. I thought I was a hot shot in our league over here, which is a pretty big league in Albany. And most of some of the guys from the Extra Pint, and like we had a really good squad, man. But we played, so it was slingshot, and then we went up to this other town for like a little small tournament. Some guys asked us to be on their team. We went there, and there was a bunch of like, older guys playing, but they would windmill. They can windmill it, and we're like, oh, we're gonna smoke these guys, dude. Those guys, those old guys that can windmill, they can off speed and break their pitches like you wouldn't believe. Make you look like an idiot up there. But yeah, dude, that's cool that you played. You like baseball. Baseball was big in my life too when I was younger. What position did you play, or like? What position did you play, and what position did you want to play, or was it the same?
I like as an adult, like they usually put me in center field just because I'm pretty fast and I can track things down pretty well. So that's where I usually ended up. But I mean, the infield's fun, right? Like everybody loves to be in the infield. So when I got a chance to do that, I enjoyed that. But center field was probably where I should have been anyways. So that's where I played most of the time.
Yeah. Yeah, they put me in the outfield because I'm a left-hander. So, and I played first base, right? And that's I grew up Little League playing first base, and I was a natural there, felt really comfortable. But as we all know, they put the guys who can't move or play that well on first base. Yeah. So I had to go out into the outfield because I could move and cover ground and stuff. Mm-hmm. I always thought that was bullshit, man. But I grew to like the outfield for diving and catches and stuff. But first base is my love. I love that position for sure. So I know eventually we're gonna have this live, okay, Andrew, and I'd like to have you back on for that. Maybe we can have a bunch of you guys on, and we can do a live YouTube thing. But for now, obviously, for everyone watching, we're taping this, and we're gonna put it on a couple days from now. But I did post on the Extra Pint Crokinole Club Facebook page just before we went on. I should have done it earlier today. But if they had any questions for you, and I got a couple people asking, what time is it on and all that stuff. So I wasn't clear about it not being live, but I do have a few questions from this one's from, I'm sure you know who this is, Razor Ray. Okay. You ready to he's got like a bunch of questions lined up. So you ready to,
all right.
Okay. Why the pink shirt? We went over that. Why shave your head? He wants to know, why do you shave your head?
Why? Well, if you saw my hair, there's a big bald patch here anyway, so may as well just commit to it and go all in. And I think a shaved head looks better than a male pattern baldness head. So with that, and I think the beard complements it pretty well. But that's just me.
Oh man, yeah, I think it looks good. And who's got a shinier head, you or Jeremy Tracy?
Sorry, say that again.
Who has a shinier head, you or Jeremy Tracy?
Oh, I hate to say it, but Jeremy, he intimidates me with his shiny head. It's much better than mine, but maybe one day I'll reach that level. I try to beat him at Crokinole, not always successfully, but sometimes. But he's got me on the shiny head for sure.
Okay. He's got a bunch of them lined up. You ready for these? We'll do a little rapid fire.
For sure.
What does he call his discs?
I call them discs. Yeah.
Okay. What is a pup?
That's what me and my original friends who play cues. That's what we call a 20, a pup or a pup dog.
Okay. What does clog the arteries mean?
So when you don't have a good shot for like a good takeout or for a 20 or whatever, but you want to prevent your opponent from getting one, you kind of just clog the discs all like in the same area to prevent them from really having a good shot. So I call that clogging the arteries.
All right, that makes sense. Who sings Thunderstruck? Better know this one.
I would say AC/DC does, but
correct, yeah.
a drunk Ray Berling would say that Bon Jovi does. Only a drunk Ray Berling.
Who is the most annoying drunk drummer?
Ray Berling.
Okay.
Yeah. Likes to drum on other people's heads and shoulders.
All right, that was the end of his. Hold on here. Let's see. Just write him down real quick. Yeah, I already got that one. Shiny head. And then there's a couple of asking what time it's going to be on tonight, and it's not going to be on tonight. It's probably going to post every Thursday or Friday. But yeah, man, that's about it. I look forward to talking to you and playing you in the future. Thank you so much for taking time out of your day to come out and chat with us. And again, I'd like to have you back on for a live sometime if you're up for it.
Sounds good.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Yeah, dude, cheers. And keep up the good work on the NCAA tour. And we'll see you around, man. Thank you.
Sounds good. Will do.